Hi guys, let's read the Agriculture, Food Processing and Supply Chain section of the 12th series of ALS Current Affairs 2019-2020. So the first topic is dwarfing genes of wheat. So why was this in the news? Scientists at Pune-based Agharkar Research Institute ARI and Autonomous Institute of the Department of Science and Technology has mapped two dwarfing genes, RHT14 and RHT18 in wheat that has reduced stubble volume, RHT14 and RHT18. The researchers have mapped the dwarfing genes on chromosome 6A in durum wheat, and DNA-based markers were developed for a better selection of these genes in wheat breeding lines. These genes are associated with better seedling vigor and longer coleoptiles. Silt protecting the young shoot tip. So these genes are associated with better seedling vigor and longer coleoptiles. Sheath protecting the young shoot tip. These DNA-based markers are being used at ARI for marker assisted transfer of these genes in Indian wheat varieties so as to make them suitable for sowing under rice stubble retained conditions and dry environments. Wheat lines with these alternative dwarfing genes, apart from reducing crop residue burning, apart from reducing crop residue burning, can allow deeper sowing of wheat seeds to avail advantage of residual moisture in the soil under dry environments. So what are its significance? In India, close to 23 million tons of leftover rice residues are annually burnt by farmers to get rid of the straw and prepare their fields for sowing wheat, which is the next crop, resulting in air pollution. Burning of leftover rice crop residue has serious implications for the environment, soil, and human health. Therefore, there is a need to include alternative dwarfing genes in wheat improvement programs. The dwarfing genes RHT14 and RHT18 in wheat conferred a plant height reduction comparable to the RHT1 alleles, which retaining early vigor in wheat seedlings, but do not affect coleoptile length and seedling shoot length. These can therefore be utilized as an alternative dwarfing gene to RHT1 for deep sowing conditions or in fields with retained stubble. The improved wheat lines which are being developed at ARI will help reducing stubble burning incidences under the rice-wheat cropping system. These lines will also allow deeper sowing of wheat seeds to avail advantage of residual moisture in the soil, therefore saving valuable water resources and reduce the cost of cultivation to farmers. Now let's come to the next topic, that is agricultural sector reforms. Amid the economic slowdown due to coronavirus outbreak and nationwide lockdown, the President of India has promulgated the following ordinances with the aim of giving a boost to rural India for farmers engaged in agriculture and allied activities. Now let's come to Essential Commodities Act. Amendment to Essential Commodities Act will remove commodities like cereals, pulses, oilseeds, edible oils, onion and potatoes from the list of essential commodities. This will promote more private investment, leading to modernization and strengthening of the food supply chain. This amendment has a provision that in situations such as war, famine, extraordinary price rise, and natural calamity, such agricultural foodstuffs can be regulated. Barrier free trade in agriculture produce. The Cabinet passed the Farming Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Ordinance 2020 in order to create an ecosystem where the farmers and traders will enjoy the freedom of choice of sale and purchase of agri produce. This ordinance will promote barrier free interstate and intrastate trade and commerce outside the physical premises of markets notified under state agricultural produce marketing legislations and will help farmers get better prices for their produce. The farmers won't be charged any cess or levy for sale of their products under this act, and there will be a separate dispute resolution mechanism for the farmers. The ordinance aims to facilitate One India, One Agriculture market to create additional trading opportunities outside the APMC market for farmers. The Farmers' Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Ordinance 2020. It envisages the it envisages to empower farmers to engage with processors, wholesalers, aggregators, uh, exporters, etc., without any fear of exploitation. It aims to transfer the risk of market unpredictability from the farmer to the sponsor and also enable the farmer to access modern technology and better inputs in order to get good remuneration to farmers. It will act as a catalyst to attract private sector investment for building supply chains for the supply of Indian farm produce to global markets. Few other provisions, a series of steps were announced as part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan to provide a boost to those engaged in agriculture and allied activities. Provision for concessional credit through Kisan credit cards and financing facility for agri-infra projects were announced. Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana and other measures to strengthen the fisheries sector in India. Announcement for vaccination against foot and mouth disease and brucellosis. Herbal cultivation promotion boost to beekeeping was made. Announcement for vaccination against foot and mouth disease and brucellosis. Herbal cultivation promotion boost to beekeeping was made. Now let's come to the next topic, that is sweet revolution, honey mission. So why was this in the news? Union Minister of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare on 22nd May 2020 announced that the government is promoting beekeeping as part of its aim to double farmers' income. The Government of India has the vision to double the income of the farmers or income by 2020. So they are going to increase. Okay, so the Government of India has the envision to double the income of the farmers by 2024 as compared to the agricultural year of 2015-16. For this, several steps have been taken by the government, such as development initiatives including infrastructure, technology, policies, and institutional mechanisms. Also, there is a focus on allied activities like horticulture, fisheries, etc., to augment the earning of farmers in the long run and make them able to cope with the seasonal crop cycle shocks. Key highlights of announcement. The government has launched the Honey Mission as part of Sweet Revolution. India is among the world's top 5 honey producers, and the honey production has risen by 242% and exports shot by 265% uh, as compared to 2005 2006, and this implies that beekeeping will be an important factor in achieving the goal of doubling farmers' income by 2024. The government has allocated a corpus worth rupees 500 crore under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan for promotion of beekeeping. The National Bee Board has created 4 modules to impart training as part of the National Beekeeping and Honey Mission. NBHM and 30 lakh farmers have been trained in beekeeping. Issues of beekeepers like scientific beekeeping, quality assurance, minimum support price, branding, testing, organic certification, etc., and their probable solutions were discussed. The popularization of scientific beekeeping as the source of livelihood for landless rural poor, small and marginal farmers to augment their agricultural income was addressed. Beekeeping Development Committee. Recently, the Beekeeping Development Committee (BDC) under the chairmanship of Vivek Debroy submitted the report to enhance the scope and scale of beekeeping. Recently, the Beekeeping Development Committee (BDC) under the chairmanship of Vivek Debroy submitted the report to enhance the scope and scale of beekeeping. The objective of the report is to identify ways of advancing beekeeping in India that can help in improving agricultural productivity, enhancing employment generation, augmenting nutritional security, and sustaining biodiversity. Recommendations made by the report. Recognizing honeybees as inputs to agriculture and considering landless beekeepers as farmers. Plantation of bee-friendly flora at appropriate places and engaging women's self-help groups in managing such plantations. Institutionalizing the National Bee Board and rechristening it as the Honey and Pollinators Board of India under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare. Such a body would engage in advancing beekeeping through multiple mechanisms such as setting up of new integrated bee development centers, strengthening the existing ones, creating a honey price stabilization fund, and collection of data on the important aspects of agriculture. Recognition of apiculture as a subject for advanced research under the aegis of Indian Council for Agricultural Research. Training and development of beekeepers by state governments, development of national and regional infrastructure for storage, processing, and marketing of honey and other bee products, simplifying procedures and specifying clear standards for ease of exporting honey and other bee products. Contract farming and its benefits. The Orissa government has promulgated an ordinance allowing investors and farmers to enter into an agreement for contract farming in view of the continuing uncertainties due to the pandemic. The ordinance is aimed at facilitating both farmers and sponsors to develop mutually beneficial and efficient contract farming system. It is argued that the new system will lead to improved production and marketing of agricultural produce and livestock while promoting farmers' interest. The agreement will be entered into between the okay so the agreement will be entered between the contract farming sponsor who offers to participate in any component or entire value chain including pre-production and the contract farming producer, that is the farmers who agree to produce the crop or rear the livestock. Both the loans and advances given by the sponsor to the producer can be recovered from the sale proceeds of the produce, and in no case realized recovery can be through the sale of mortgage or lease of the land in respect of which the agreement has been entered into. What is contract farming? Contract farming can be defined as agricultural production carried out according to an agreement between a buyer and farmers, which establishes conditions for the production and marketing of a farm product or products. Typically, the farmer agrees to provide agreed quantities of a specific agricultural product. These should meet the quality standards of the purchaser and be supplied at the time determined by the purchaser. In turn, the buyer commits to purchase the product and in some cases to support production through, for example, the supply of farm inputs, land preparation, and the provision of technical advice. Some business models in contract farming. Number one is informal model. This model is the most transient and speculative of all contract farming methods, with a risk of default by both the promoter and the farmer. However, this depends on the situation, interdependence of contract parties, or long-term trustful relationships may reduce the risk of opportunistic behavior. Number two, intermediary model. In this model, the buyer subcontracts an intermediary, collector, aggregator, or farmer organization for formally or informally contracts farmers, a combination of the centralized or informal models. Multipartite model. This model can develop from the centralized or nucleus state models. It involves various organizations such as governmental statutory bodies alongside private companies and sometimes financial institutions. Number four, centralized model. In this model, the buyer's involvement may vary from minimal input provision, example specific varieties, to control of most production aspects, example from land preparation to harvesting. This is the most common contract farming model. So centralized model is the most common contract farming model, and in this the buyer's involvement may vary from minimal input provision to control of most production aspects. Now let's come to advantages of contract farming. Contract farming is looking towards the benefits both for the farm producers as well as to the agro-processing firms. Producer or farmer is benefited in the following ways. makes small-scale farming competitive. That is, small farmers can access technology, credit, marketing channels, and information while lowering transaction cost. The assured market for their produce at their doorsteps, reducing marketing and transaction cost. It reduces the risk of production, price, and marketing cost. Contract farming can open up new markets which would otherwise be unavailable to small farmers. It also ensures higher production of better quality financial support in cash and kind, and technical guidance to the farmers. In the case of agri-processing level, it ensures a consistent supply of agricultural produce with quality at the right time and lesser cost. So, what are its limitations? Contract farming arrangements are often criticized for being biased in favor of firms or large farmers while exploiting the poor bargaining by exploiting. So it exploits the poor bargaining power of small farmers. Problems faced by growers like an undue quality cut on produce by firms, delayed deliveries at the factory, delayed payments, low price, and pest attack on the contract crop, which raise the cost of production. Contracting agreements are often verbal or informal in nature, and even written contracts often do not provide legal protection in India that may be observed in other countries. Lack of enforceability of contractual provisions can result in a breach of contracts by either party. Single buyer, multiple sellers, monopsony. Adverse gender effects. Women have less access to contract farming than men. So that's all, guys. See you in my next video. Bye.